It's Thursday, August 29. In the headlines, the Education Minister says it will cost $2.7 billion to repair schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Regionally, Guyana braces for above normal temperatures as heat wave expected. In sports, Jamaica's Alana Reid sprints the victory at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Peru. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. As the 2024-2025 academic year begins on September 2, schools are being urged to implement COVID-19 safeguards. Education and Youth Minister Favour Williams made the call following a recent data showing high transmission rates of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Denita Rodney reports with more details.
We are asking our principals or school nurses to be particularly vigilant. While there's not a mandate for mask wearing or distancing and so on, we note the Ministry of Health's concern, if I could put it that way, for us to be aware and continue to do those things that we did during COVID.
That was Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams. She was speaking during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. In her statement, Minister Williams said the health and safety of students and stakeholders were most important.
We are encouraging schools and we will be soliciting help to ensure that there are enough hygiene and sanitation supplies, including, the normal mask, hand sanitizers, disinfectants, and so on.
Additionally, Mrs. Williams said schools will be equipped with disaster preparedness kits.
As such, we're leveraging support to ensure that there are disaster preparedness kits, including first aid supplies, flashlights, batteries, emergency response kits are in our schools, and we'll be doing that as we go through the school year. Similarly, our guidance and counseling unit has partnered with the Ministry of Health and Wellness to provide increased access to guidance counselors to help students, staff, and parents cope with any particular issue related to the hurricane and other difficulty and unfortunate circumstances.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Denita Rodney.
It's going to cost about $3 billion to get the repairs done at 362 schools that reported damages following Hurricane Beryl in July. According to Education and Youth Minister Favour Williams, preliminary estimates to undertake repairs were priced at $2.7 billion. She gave an update during Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief.
So as we looked at the 362 schools, we had to place them in priority groups. So priority 1 would be the severely damaged schools, 107 of those. And we know we definitely had to do the work to get those fixed in order for them to be up and ready. Priority 2 schools are schools that are moderately damaged. What's damaged at those schools can be fixed while schools are in session. And priority 3, minor damage, 116.
Minister Williams says the ministry will need to tap into the supplementary budget to fund the repairs.
We're always asking for more money. That's the nature of the ministry. Yes, of course, we have to. We have a better assessment now than we did right after the hurricane, and so we have to present the case to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And on our side, we have to be efficient with the funds that we have that were already allocated to us, because we know it's additional burden on the national budget as a result of the hurricane.
The new academic year is set to begin on September 2. Minister Williams says contractors are working in earnest to meet the deadline.
Hurricane hit us on July 3rd. School is to open September 2nd, so that's about 8 weeks or so to really get things in gear, something that we have never done before, but based on these contractors just rallying to the task, and or building officers or regional directors, everyone, we are at a good place today, looking at the start of school for September 2nd.
The new academic year is about to begin in a few days, and for some students, it's time to choose the CSEC subjects aligned with a chosen field of study or career. Some are thinking of traditional areas like medicine, information technology, marketing, teaching, and more. How about becoming a sculptor, or more specifically, a woodologist like Mara Harding?
This is Mara Harding, a self-taught woodologist, a term she coined as a result of the profession she now leads, which is...
So I get to breathe new life into these trees and convert them into pieces for wholly for other people to enjoy, instead of it being wasted and dumped or burnt. So I always tell people I don't cut trees to make furniture, I make furniture to rescue trees. Okay, so this is where I pour my resin. This is a teak table, and inset into these areas are going to be glass and resin. This is teak that I took from a construction site, actually up here in Stony Hill. This is tamarind. This is my logo. You see it on a lot of the pieces. This is guango, light fixture.
The wife and mother of two walked the corporate line before landing what she now recognizes as her purpose. Having had a successful career in the advertising business, working with big-name clients, she was searching.
And didn't have the answers, but I knew I wanted to create.
So Mara did what a lot of people would consider unthinkable. She closed her successful ad business to pursue the unknown.
So wrote to all the clients, gave them notice that we were shutting down the agency, and then I took about 4 months and I just journaled. I just went by a river up by Red Light, close to, like if you're on your way up to Greenwich, like Irish Town side. Sit at the river and I would just journal, and just asking like, what am I here? Why am I here? What is my reason for being?
Her new hobby gave her more than just solace. It gave her zeal.
So Christmas was coming, and I started making Christmas decorations just to kind of get my juices flowing. Made them, not one sold. And I was like, I can't give up like this. Like, this cannot be the start of my creative journey where nothing sells. So I went onto Pinterest and I noticed that there was a lot of really cool stuff made from wood. Wreaths and Christmas trees and all of that. I had a plum tree, and at that time of year, the plum loses all of its leaves. So I went with a saw, and I sawed off a couple of the limbs, and I ended up making them into wreaths. Rambo, that's here with me now, he was one of the ones helping me. We were cutting off the limbs and making all of these cool Christmas decorations, and every single one of them sold. And that's when I had the aha moment that it was wood. And I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know anything about wood, anything about carpentry, tools, nothing, zero.
She made about $400 in profit, and with the purchase of a few handheld tools, Mara Made Designs was set in motion.
And every time I made something and sold it, I bought another tool. And I did a lot of research on YouTube. I did a lot of research just on the internet to figure out what I could use to carve. I worked outside on a tarpaulin, and every time it rained, we'd have to run inside with the tools.
Looking back now, she realizes that there were some signs along the way that she had ignored.
So I'll give you an example. About 6 years prior, a huge, massive privet tree was cut down by JPS across from Ewing, and past it, and I couldn't sleep that night. And the next day I drove, and I looked at the tree, and it's just, I kept getting called back to this tree. And I called the guys at Rado, I know them very well, And I said, I need you to help me move this tree. You can bring the saws and come cut it up for me.
Admitting that she needs help is nothing arduous for Mara. In fact, she alluded to this several times throughout her interview, giving much credit to her team of 2 male companions and several other people she hires on contract. She is aware of her limits. Woodwork is undoubtedly a male-dominated area, so we were keen to know how it has been for Mara.
Rough. They give me the hardest time. It's had its challenges. There were times where we were doing a lot of installations and I would go on site and the other contractors doing work would ignore me and just go straight to my workmen and be asking my workmen questions. And they're like, you need to ask her. And it's like they just couldn't bring themselves to ask me, right?
Wrong, that is, to assume she doesn't have the answers when it comes to this type of work.
This is Mango. Cedar. They're my children. Don't you remember children's names? They're all my children. I remember I can tell you where every single piece comes from. I can tell you what trees are when they're already cut. I have a hard time telling you what they are when they're standing up in the air, right? I'm more familiar with the green patterns and I can smell them too and I can tell you, oh, that's this, that's this, that's this.
With almost 9 years since her business started, she has accomplished a lot, with her work being enjoyed by individuals all over the island. Now she's encouraging others to become rescuers of trees.
I really need to get with the government and we need to set up even just a temporary, we have temporary shelters, we need to set up a temporary field location that when you do have hurricanes, instead of the trucks dumping the wood at the dump, they dump it in specific areas. Then that wood gets cut up and used back to teach at the art academies and the different technical schools, and then that furniture gets put back into the schools. So it's a cycle that we should be encouraging, and I am determined to try and figure out how to get that done, but it does require funding and it does require some effort and some buy-in from the government and the different social entities, but all doable.
Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Darryl Vaz, has described the directive issued by the Office of Utilities Regulations, OUR, to reissue electricity bills for July to August period is a welcomed development. The OUR's directive follows its probe into public concerns about the spike in JPS bills for the month of August. For his part, the Energy Minister says he intends to follow up with both the Jamaica Public Service and OUR to ensure that customers who feel unfairly burdened are treated fairly.
The directive is aimed at ensuring that unjust and unfair increases are remedied in the September cycle bill. I note that OUR says the directive is tantamount to a reversal in the hefty increases via a similar process. I will be monitoring the process closely to ensure this de facto reversal materializes. It is also encouraging that the JPS has indicated that during the current billing cycle, it is not prepared to punish via disconnections customers who have hefty bills, which are to be remedied.
Minister Vaz says he also awaits word from the OUR on its investigation into the current JPS billing cycle. He says discussions will continue with stakeholders to work towards an audit of JPS's billing processes. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Cygnus Capital PR LLC, a subsidiary of the Jamaican-based Cygnus Group, has invested US $6 million into the Ana G. Mendez University in Puerto Rico. This injection of funds into Puerto Rico's education sector will result in the launch of high-demand accredited programs such as dental medicine, veterinary medicine, and physical therapy at the institution. As such, Cygnus Capital has dubbed this a significant investment that is making a milestone in the island's educational landscape. The upcoming Digital Jamaica Summit and Showcase, scheduled for Tuesday, September 3 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston, is organized by the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. It will bring together leading experts to discuss how digital technologies can drive the growth of MSMEs through digital innovation. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape, MSMEs often grapple with how to effectively integrate new technologies to stay competitive. As such, the aim of the event is to empower MSME owners and managers with the knowledge to make informed decisions and implement effective digital strategies. During the trading for the period of August 28, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited US dollar shares with 12,235,468 units represent 33.83% of the total market value in terms of sales. Investment firm Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 4,228,590 units represent 11.69% of the total market value in terms of sales. Pharmaceutical product distributor R.A. Williams Distributors Limited with 2,917,020 units represent 8.0% of the market value in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On August 28, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $53.39 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $56.51 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.81 and bought the US dollar for $156.53. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $2.28, which represents a profit for the Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.34 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $118.17 and bought for $116.83. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $2.30, selling it for $208.78 and buying it for $204.59. For our credit report tip of the day, we continue to talk about rebuilding credit after the age of 50. But it's not too late to improve your financial health. And we always say if you have assets and freelance income, you're already in a strong position to rebuild and boost your credit score. So we have 2 strategies for you. First, leverage your assets for secured loans. So use an asset like real estate or a vehicle as a collateral for a secured loan. This type of loan is easier to obtain and can help you rebuild your credit with on-time payments. Secondly, you can build credit with your freelance income. Consistently deposit your freelance income into your bank account. Regular deposits can help you demonstrate stability when applying for loans or credit cards. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, in Guyana, the Hydrometeorological Service under the Ministry of Agriculture has issued a warning of above normal temperatures across Guyana from September through to November 2024. For ongoing updates, the Hydrometeorological Service will provide regular information through its seasonal outlook.
The September through November period is known for its typically high temperatures, and this year it is expected that there will be even more extreme heat, raising concerns for public health, agriculture, and livestock. The anticipated heat wave could significantly impact public health, with increased risk of heat-related illnesses such as dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. Vulnerable populations, including the elderly, children, and individuals with pre-existing health conditions, are particularly at risk. To mitigate these risks, the Hydromet Service advises the public to stay hydrated, limit outdoor activities during peak heat hours, and ensure adequate ventilation in living and working spaces. The forecasted heat is expected to coincide with the driest months in northern Guyana and the start of the long dry season in the south. Farmers may encounter challenges due to reduced water availability and heightened stress on crops, potentially leading to lower yields. Water-intensive crops are especially vulnerable to the prolonged high temperatures. Livestock also face significant risk. Heat stress can adversely affect animal health, reducing their productivity and overall well-being. Farmers are urged to provide ample water, create shaded areas, and monitor livestock closely for signs of heat stress, such as decreased feed intake, lethargy, and rapid breeding. From January to July 2024, daytime temperatures across Guyana have consistently surpassed the historical average of 32 degrees Celsius, with some months even exceeding the record-breaking temperatures of 2023. The Hydromet Service urges all stakeholders to take necessary precautions during this period of extreme heat. It is important to stay informed about weather updates, implement weather-saving strategies, and protect health, crops, and livestock accordingly. The public is encouraged to check short-range forecasts and weather analysis from the National Weather Watch Center.
In Antigua and Barbuda, Director of the Family and Social Services Division, Fiona Charles Richards, says while the issue of youth violence is alarming, it is not surprising, as earlier warning signs were never addressed. She emphasizes the importance of a holistic approach to tackling the problem. Theresa Goodwin reports.
In 2013, Antigua and Barbuda, with the support of CCAD, would have done a school survey for substance use. And we would have recognized that a lot of our children were being introduced to substances at the age of 9.
Director Richards also highlights a breakdown in the family structure and the lack of community involvement, noting that people are now turning a blind eye to the problems happening around them.
We took to the song, Drink Water and Mind Your Business. We literally, as a community, took to that song. However, there are things happening next door that you know that is happening, and people are not saying what those issues are. You're seeing that our young girls, our young boys are being exposed to different types of traumas, and we're not saying anything.
She also adds that many parents are using their children as tools to meet financial and other needs.
A lot of our girls and a lot of our boys are sexually molested who are actually propositioned because of their parents, whose parents have allowed that to happen in their households, who recognize that there are issues happening but are not saying anything.
Richard says there are programs available to help parents understand their roles and emphasizes that the community and the society as a whole should be incorporated as part of the process.
Our children need a holistic approach and not just a one-handed approach. It has to be holistic. We have to look at the education, we have to look at the mental health, we have to look at the learning disabilities, we have to learn at the where our children are at.
Theresa Goodwin, ABS News.
In sports, we're out the blocks with athletics as Alana Reid won the women's 100 meters at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in 11.17 seconds on Wednesday. Reid, who went into the contest as the world under-20 leader, delivered Jamaica's first medal of the championships being held in Peru. This is the fourth straight gold medal for the island in the women's 100 meters race. She extended the winning run that was started by Brianna Williams in Tampere, Finland in 2018 and Tina Clayton in Nairobi, Kenya in 2021 and Cali, Colombia in 2022. It was a clean sweep of the medals for the Caribbean as Adija Hodge 11.27 seconds of the British Virgin Islands and Kishiana Niles, her clocking 11.37 seconds of Barbados, who was based in the MVP Track Club training camp in Jamaica. They were second and third, respectively. Over on the men's side, Jamaica narrowly missed out on a second medal at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships after DeAndre Daly was fourth in the men's 100 meters in 10.33 seconds. South Africa's Bayanda Walaza won the race in 10.19 seconds. Thailand's Puripol Bunsun won the silver medal in 10.22 seconds, and another South African, Bradley Unkwana, was third with 10.26 seconds. Turning to cricket, as the rain tried to spoil the party at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, but the West Indies eventually prevailed over South Africa in the final T20 international of their three-match series to register a clean sweep following wins in the first two encounters.
There was a late starter to Ruba due to the downpours. When play got started, South Africa were invited to bat first and could only get to 23 without loss before play was halted again in the fifth over. On the resumption, the game was reduced to a 13-over side affair, and they got to 108 for 4 at the end of that allotment, with Tristan Stubbs shining once more with the bat, hitting a top score of 40. Romario Shepherd carried over his Game 2 form to once again lead the bowling for the West Indies, with 2 wickets for 14 runs. After losing Alec Atanez in the first over of the chase, the West Indies set about their task in devastating fashion, with Shea Hope leading the way with 42 not out in 24 balls. Nicholas Puran had 35 in 13 and Shimron Hitmeyer 31 in 17 as the home side got to the target of 116 in 9.2 overs for the loss of 2 wickets. The West Indies winning by 8 wickets with 22 balls remaining to take the series 3-0. For the second successive game, Romario Shepherd was named player of the match, while for his 134-run total, Shea Hope was adjudged player of the series. Captain Robman Powell met the media following the match and was happy with the Trinbago support.
It's always good to put on a show for the people of the Caribbean. We are at home, and the support that the Trinidadians have gave us is fantastic. So we want to say thanks to them. It's good to play some good cricket.
Powell took a very important positive aspect from the series.
I think when you look at us as a batting group, we batted well right throughout the series. And also as a bowling group, when we were put on the pressure in that second game, the way the bowlers' reply was fantastic. It's definitely a rebuilding process. If you see how the squad was selected, a few guys who haven't really featured in T20 cricket for the West Indies was selected, and all the guys except Johnson Charles was given opportunity in this series. So that goes to show that we're looking for cricketers, we're looking for T20 players.
The team's second successive series sweep is especially satisfying for the captain.
It's good to play a quality opponent like South Africa and actually beat them. Gone are the days when we used to be the team getting whitewashed. So it's a pleasing feeling now that we are the one handing out such treatment.
The players now turn their attention to the Caribbean Premier League, which starts on Thursday at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium at North Sound, Antigua. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.